You were a huge, huge character in the G.I. Joe series, probably the greatest G.I. Joe character of all time, if I could say that.
Well,
And I distinctly remember having, all the toys and all the Slaughter toys. I mean, just awesome line of toys. Obviously, you're in the G.I. Joe movie and everything else, but how did you go about being brought into G.I. Joe? How did they approach you, and what was Vince's reaction to that?
Well, I was approached by a friend of mine who ended up being my attorney, and he had a friend that had a business in Providence, Rhode Island, and G.I. Joe headquarters are in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And they started talking about, G.I. Joe and Sgt Slaughter, and somebody came up with the idea of taking the Sgt Slaughter and putting them into the G.I. Joe action figure. It was always animated to that point. And so they came to me and asked me what I thought about it, and I said I thought it was a great idea. So I went to approach Vince McMahon, and he thought it was a great idea too, but he said I can't let you do it because I have another toy company other than Hasbro, and there'd be a conflict of interest, and we can't do it. I'd have lawsuits and things like that. So I was a little disappointed, but kept kind of pursuing it with Vince, and finally he just said, well, if you want to go be a G.I. Joe, go ahead to WWE. So I had to make a major decision whether I wanted to become the first living G.I. Joe in its history or stay with the WWE. And I just kind of figured I could always be a professional wrestler. I could always go back to being a WWE superstar. I could never maybe get this opportunity to do the G.I. Joe. So begrudgingly, I went away from the WWE. I was on top, doing very well. Gave up a lot of things and just went on my way. And I can't look back and say I should have did it differently. I did what I did, and it's there today. Just wish it could have been promoted more with WWE than it has been over the years. But it's one of those things. We were real close to when Mattel and Hasbro were bidding for the contract for WWE. Of Hasbro getting the contract, that would have been really, really good for everybody, including myself. But I just decided to go in the G.I. Joe direction, and happy I made the move.
I just want to mention really quickly about G.I. Joe, with the movie being now almost 25 years old. And did you think the movie was going to have such a lasting impact when you joined up with them?
Well, you never think much about that when you're first doing it, even the action figure. As I said, there was a conflict of interest, and WWE had just, come out with their first action figures, and I was manufactured, but I wasn't able to be sold under the WWE, branch. And so Hasbro made a Sgt. Slaughter action figure that was just a little bit bigger than the WWE's. It's just little things that went on, and all of a sudden we went to the G.I. Joe action figure, and it was so much smaller, but it was easier for children, of course, and to play with and collect, and it's just amazing to see it. I think over the years I've got all different sizes, of course. I've probably about 30 or 40 action figures of Sgt. Slaughter, not only in G.I. Joe, but WWE and different vehicles. And it's just amazing what goes on out there, and what people are wanting to be involved with. And of course, the movie kind of speaks for itself. We didn't actually think that it was going to be that big, but it was huge. The first Sgt Slaughter action figure with G.I. Joe was phenomenal. They expected to sell maybe 300,000 of them, and they ended up 4 or 5 million. And they had to back order everything because they weren't expecting to happen. And back then, you couldn't buy Sgt Slaughter; you had to earn them. And it was just all types of publicity and different promotions, and we just you didn't have time to stop and think about all those things that were going on. You just went out and did them. It's like wrestling. I remember wrestling 12 times a week one time. 12 matches in 1 week.
Wow.
It's hard to explain how you do those things, but you do it.